Hi everyone, it's Cameron, the Dungeon Master for the Arbitrary Hero Waterdeep campaign, running Max's Mad Mythic Mercenaries through the streets of the City of Splendor with another recap. This will be the second part of a multi-section Waterdeep Dragon Heist Chapter 4 recap, as I'm running the Alexandrian remix, and that makes Chapter 4 pretty long, so I'm planning on doing multiple recaps to keep the length of each one more manageable. With the first Eye of Golorr in their hands and 3 of these 4 mysterious vault keys on their person, Roland, Alu, Sprocket, Holly, and Fen began to sniff around for the next eye they needed. The clues that the party had gathered so far suggested that the Zentarum had an eye they took from Raynar Neverember. Aha! The reason for Raynar and Floon's kidnapping finally explained. In probing for the Zentarum safe house that may hold the eye, Roland and Alu slaughtered some Zentarum members and rescued a familiar, shabby-looking dwarf named Ott Steeltoes. Ott believed the others were actually Xanathar agents, despite learning there was another Zentarum outpost in a building called Yellowspire. The group decides to turn their attention to eliminating their biggest threat, getting caught by Xanathar for taking his beloved fish Silgar. Knowing that the beholder Xanathar would kill them, kill their families, kill their neighbors, kill everyone who ever met them if he learns that the group has his precious fishy boy, the gang comes up with a pretty conniving plan to throw suspicion off their trail. Luckily, Sprocket was invisible when he took Silgar's bowl, and through their previous investigations, the party had learned that the drow organization Bregendarth had a mole, the drow wizard Gnarl Zabrindis, within the Xanathar's guild. Gnarl had managed to survive the previous chaos in Xanathar's hideout, and Fen had a point of contact to Gnarl through Bregendarth. Knowing that Gnarl had a desperate need to prove himself loyal to Xanathar amidst the Beholder's paranoid purging of the Xanathar's guild, the party reached out and offered Silgar's rescue to help further throw the suspicion off of themselves. The group needed to set up a fall guy, and who better than that bastard Bran Stonebridge? That's right, the werewolf that apparently murdered Fen's wife and Roland's sister. He's a tool bag, why not blame him? Luckily, the team has a hat of disguise, so Roland was able to make himself look like Bran and smuggle Silgar publicly into Trollskull Tavern to help explain why the fish may have been spotted there. Upon losing a card game, again publicly, Roland as Bran brandished the fish to Gnarl and other Xanathar's Guild gangsters, causing a brawl to break out. The Waterdeep crew were ready for this to happen and cunningly helped convincingly beat the piss out of Roland, who took this stomping as Bran like a champion. As Bran was a known werewolf and consorter with devils, it wasn't too much trouble to think he'd pop back up again later. That bastard! It seems to have worked, as since then, there haven't been a single peep out of Xanathar and Gnarl hasn't been killed. All's well that ends well, eh? With the threat of being eliminated by Xanathar for stealing his precious fishy boy mitigated, the group turned their attention to finding the next eye of the Stone of Golorr. Alu had spent some time working her contacts in Waterdeep's seedy underground. The Doom Raider faction of the Zentarum reached out with some information. They confirmed that other Zentarum agents had been seen entering and leaving Yellowspire Tower, and in a meeting with Alu and Holly, Yagra Stonefist also revealed the Doom Raiders' leader, a powerful, beautiful wizard named Mamshun. Mamshun shared the story of the original Manshun, his clones, and the Manshun Wars. She also confirmed that another Manshun clone was leading the Zentarum faction, and enlisted the gang into eliminating her clone nemesis, offering a trade of the eye for his assured death. With the additional information provided from Mamshun, Roland and Fen moved to raid Yellowspire. The big boys, along with Holly, took the front door while Sprocket and Alu snuck in at the top level. A chaotic raid ensued, leaving none of the Zentarum alive to question, and rescuing a really racist Waterdeep news pundit. Fen and Alu worked together to help him see some new perspective, teleporting him into the Underdark to broaden his horizons. I'm sure he'll be fine. Exploring Yellowspire completely revealed a teleportation circle, and while Sprocket and Holly were investigating the circle, who should teleport through but Manshun and his bodyguards? A lively battle erupts in the basement of Yellowspire, with spells being slung and blood spilled. Eventually Manshun was brought down, but he was losing water instead of blood during the battle, revealing this was nothing more than a simulacrum. If this wasn't the real Manshun, how mighty could the Zentarum leader be? At this point, the party was wiped. While they had obtained Zentarum signets that could activate the portal circle, they were tapped out and needed a rest. Setting up watch and crashing for the night, the party also informed Mamshun of their find. By the time the party got up the next morning, Mamshun had identified the other end of the portal as linking to the Kolat Towers. A landmark thought to have been abandoned and dilapidated was actually the cleverly disguised Zentarum headquarters in Waterdeep. Using the ongoing Zentarum civil war as a way to distract the defenses of Kolat Towers, the party agreed to a simultaneous raid with the Doom Raiders. Alu and Fen would teleport invisibly inside the tower, while Roland, Sprocket, and Holly would enter the force field surrounding the tower with confiscated pass amulets and Zentarum signets. The group would be attempting to shut off the protective force field of the tower, allowing the Doom Raiders to begin their assault. And honestly, the first part of the plan went off mostly without a hitch. Alu and Fen were able to sneak in while the rest of the group disguised themselves. The Zentarum inside the base had grown complacent due to the protection offered by the force field. If someone looked like a Zent and was in the tower, that must mean they are. After all, how do they get past the force field? In fact, Holly and Sprocket made fast friends with some Zentarum mage apprentices after saving them from a demon the neophyte wizard summoned but couldn't fully control. This allowed the party to thoroughly search the smaller of the two Kolat towers, then climb to the top of the main tower and destroy the glyph of warding that generated the force field, narrowly avoiding impregnation by Slods summoned when they damaged the glyph. With the shield down, the full assault began. The party used the distraction of the fighting outside the towers to sneak their way back down, smooth-talking their way past the Zentarum investigating the failure of the glyph with the help of their new wizard friends. After searching nearly the entirety of the main tower, Alu and Sprocket determined that there was actually a pocket dimension within the base. This would be the most secure location that Manchun could operate out of, and where the clone would keep something as precious as the Eye of Golorr. Fen's abilities didn't detect any other portal in the complex other than what he had entered in, and Holly was able to deduce that the portal used to arrive from Yellowspire could in fact be used to enter the inner sanctum if the proper credentials were provided. Alu recalled particular rings that higher-ranked members of the Zentarum wore, such as the apprentice wizards, and the party began hunting for the needed rings. Luckily, they were able to avoid killing their newfound friends after Roland stumbled upon a little halfling mage, the party taking him out and the Zents he was with to obtain the needed rings. The chaos of the Doom Raiders raid gave coverage to get back to the portal and penetrate Manchun's arcane sanctum while notifying Mamshun of their find in order to get some backup. Inside the sanctum, the group was immediately beset by supernatural snares and Manchun's most militant mooks, killing their way through martial artist halflings, elementals, a red wizard of Thay, and another Manchun simulacrum. The party finally got to the Manchun clone himself. The party found that Manchun was quite prepared for their arrival, and very mighty indeed. As a side note, I use my own Manchun stat block linked down in the description below for your playing pleasure. A running battle ensued, with Manchun using his magic to evade and isolate the party members, trying to take them down one by one. Despite outnumbering him 5-1, it was a fight for their lives. And while Manchun worked to get to his vault and retrieve the Eye of Golorr and flee, the party were able to wear down his defenses. Fen at one point slowing Manchun down and soloing him, while Sprocket and Holly worked to get past the mage's wall of force, Alu pilfering the Eye of Golorr before Manchun dropped her to the ground, Roland tanking and keeping Manchun's defenses isolated, then Sprocket and Holly finally restraining, grappling, and incapacitating the Zentarum leader. With the Manchun clone finally rendered non-threatening for a moment, Mamshun and her guards appeared to take the sanctum in hand. A power word utterly killed the other Manchun clone, and Mamshun allowed the party to keep the Eye of Golorr in exchange for claiming the other spoils from the sanctum. As the arcane sanctum began to collapse with the death of its creator, the party stumbled out to realize it was midnight on a night of a full moon. Alu, Sprocket, Holly, and Fen were taken by surprise as Roland transformed into a fully lupine form and ran off into the night, the last dregs of fighting covering his escape, and the group too tired and drained to go after him. Night ending with a mix of triumph with the Eye of Golorr in hand and apprehension at what Roland could get up to unsupervised. That's it for this recap, and we're all caught up with the current arc of the game. Catch you all in a few months for for the next recap of Max's Mad Mythic Mercenaries plays Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Bye, everybody!